Hello everybody, my name is Peter. If you don't know me already, I personally trade futures on the NASDAQ and gold using different types of indicators, bots, and other things that you can find all in the link in the bio, or in the description I should say. Today we're going over how to use some of the different methods that I use and how I profit from them. So today we're looking at using the edge indicator, which is essentially a meta trend indicator, combining a few things to look at overall trend without really putting much effort in, and also using a risk calculator to figure out how much we should put into each position. It's really simple when we get down to it, and I'm going to show you guys how I do it so you can use it for yourself and make some money. Let's move into... Alright, so right now what we're looking at gold in Asia session. I find that this is an absolute printer. Gold sets these ridiculous trends that will go on for a very long time. If you look here, this trend literally continued for hours and hours and continued into today, which is Friday the 22nd. So if we're looking right here, this may seem a little bit overwhelming to a lot of you beginner traders, which I know a lot of you guys are, and that's why you're looking for ways to get an edge and learn without going through all of the failures, blown accounts, and things like that that people like me went through. So I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to turn on the edge indicator. And pretty much what this does, it has a few different indicators that it uses to determine what the trend is, and it puts it into a very digestible format, which is where it paints it green if it's in a bull trend or red if it's in a bear trend. So what I do when I'm going in Asia session is I go down to the 1 minute time frame, I look for a break of structure, and I look for it to be in a bull trend. So I'm going to show you guys exactly how I do that before we look into risk management and how to actually hop into a position. So if we look at this whole time frame, this starts at about 8:30 p.m., which is about 30 minutes after Asia truly opens, and we're looking at the screen going to about 11:30 p.m. EST. So in here, we're going to get a lot of volume from those Asian institutions. We're just going to see trends starting to appear after opens. It does the same thing in New York Open. That's why a lot of our bots will signal at about 10:30 a.m. because that's after trend has popped in, after all the institutional volume has settled. So what is a break of structure? Pretty much a break of structure is when you see there being a sequence of higher lows and higher highs. So right here, if we draw ourselves a little trend line, you can see, oh yeah, that looks like it's going up. All right, right here, that looks like it's going up. And it's literally like this perfect. You'll see the highs, which is a green followed by a red, and then a low, which is a red followed by a green. And you'll see these happening over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. So we see that. That's wonderful. And that just came off of this chop here where it wasn't really doing that. So, okay, a trend has officially started. We can see with the edge indicator that it's going bullish and that it has been for a while, which is important. If there's volume pushing in a certain way, that means that the volume, we can hop in and we can take advantage of that and use that for ourselves. So that's the main thing that I look at. And the way that I enter a position is, okay, so I see here we have the higher low and the higher high. So what I'll do is you wait for the new higher low. So what I'll do, here's the low, here's the high, here's a new low. Okay, I know it's going to keep going upwards, so I'm going to enter as low as I can to get the best cost average. So by the time that it gets over here, my profit is way more than if I entered right here. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, leave a comment and I'll address that. But a big thing is you don't want to enter right at the peak of this, because this whole time that it's going downwards to set that higher low, you're going to be in loss, and you're going to be hoping to get break even here instead of this far in profit. So you want to buy as low as possible and sell as high as possible. Go figure. That's how we make the money on this. And it's honestly that simple. So then once it starts going in our direction, what we'll do is we will set our stop loss at a recent low. So we'll enter right at this right here, and we'll set our stop loss right below the recent low. It's a tight stop, which means that it's going to be a lot lower losses. The issue here is you can get some slight reversals with gold where you get a strong little downwick that can tap it. So you set it a little bit lower than where it wicked down to. So we could set that comfortably like right here. and then you set your take profit just very high, and you can just trail down the stop loss as it sets new lows. So when it gets when it settles up here, you would set your stop loss to like here, for example, and then you just let it keep going. You keep trailing the stop loss, and that's how I made $1,000 last night in about 45 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, doing this exact strategy. Now we're going to move into knowing how much to actually hop in with positions. So I'm going to pull up the risk calculator, and I'm going to walk you guys through using that. Alright, now we have our risk calculator pulled up, and it's as simple as we just enter in the stuff in the green. So let's say we're on a fresh $50,000 valuation account. So our account size, $50,000, our available drawdown, let's say we're on a Tradify account, be 2,000. Risk per trade, 1% is very fair. We'll pop in MGC. Our stop loss, so we entered at, let's say 412, and our stop loss will be 411. So we'll enter in how many points that is, and then it'll go through, whatever, let's just say, 10 points. It'll settle through, and it'll tell us that we should enter it with 5 MNQ. I'm going to move this over so you guys can see it a little bit better. Here you go. You just go in, you enter in the green, and then it tells you dollar per point, $10 on MGC, or if this is GC, MNQ, NQ, we have all these different options here. Because with trading, the key to it is capital preservation, risk calculation, risk management, and being calculated. Being calculated is really the key here. Being calculated means a few things. It means that you're understanding the losses, you're understanding the risk reward that you're taking, and considering that. Is it worth entering this trade with the risk that we're taking on here? Is it worth potentially lowering my drawdown and coming closer to losing my account to take this trade? And if the answer is no, then don't take it. Absolutely don't. If you want to go do that, you might as well go play blackjack. And this little risk calculator here is it's just that simple. You type in your account, the drawdown available, percent per trade. You should leave it at about 1% because that's very fair. That's reasonable. So you can risk losing $500, which that's pretty standard. For context, there's $100 per contract, and right here, just right down at the bottom, makes it real simple. So it says enter with 5 MGC, and it's easy as that. At that point, you have a strong trade, you have a logical trade, you have a calculated trade, and you understand where it's gone and where it will probably be going. And that's personally how I do things in Asia session. I don't do this during New York Open, but this is how I run things during Asia. And the reason I made this video is because I had a few people ask me, oh Peter, like I see you kill it during Asia session trading gold, how can we do this using the same stuff that you're using, and how can we do it the same way that you're doing it? So I figured I might as well make a video showing you guys exactly how I do it and my thought process through it, so that you guys can do the exact same thing, because we're here to make money together, and we're making this accessible for everybody. So if you guys have any questions, make sure to comment them down below. Down below you'll also see my discount codes for Apex Trading. You can get about 80% off an account, $25 resets, my free trial for TradingView where you can get a month of this exact charting platform for free, and also my Discord server where you can get all these products, you can ask me questions, and you can just be part of this awesome community for self-growth and chasing self-improvement. Hope to see you guys again soon. Hope to chat with you guys, and I hope this was helpful. Thank you.